Yeah.
There seems to be a havamina that jealousy is instinctual.
That what is that?
Jealousy.
Oh, jealousy, yes.
Is instinctual, and therefore
Yeah.
we should be circumspect about what one shares about oneself, so as not to elicit jealousy. At the same time, we have to believe in hashgacha pratit. So surely hashgacha pratit has power over jealousy. So Hashem restrains people's jealousy, or is the approach that we have to be shtum, trying to get this tension between.
Well, I would say this. Hashgacha pratit has certain built-in limitations. Remember the famous statement, "Hakol bidei shamayim," everything is in the hands of heaven, chutz miyiras shamayim, except for the fear of God. So God determines if I'm wealthy, if I'm poor, if I'm healthy, if I'm sick. Yeah. But God does not determine if I'm righteous or I'm evil. God does not determine if I get jealous or I don't get jealous. That's within the ambit of my bechira. So as a result, the fact that, God calls the shots doesn't mean he calls the shots about how I am going to react to a given situation. That's with the ambit of bechira. And then at that point, what the Sfarim say is correct, that jealousy to a large extent is natural because we have our own sense of ego, we have our own sense of self, and when I see other people that have things that I would like to have, I feel bad about it. And as a result, I have to train myself to appreciate what Hashem has given me and to appreciate what Hashem has given him and to understand that everybody gets what they're supposed to get. But Hashgacha Pratit is not going to control how I feel. Now, this idea whether jealousy is natural or not, I think a lot about a story that happened with my son when he was in second grade. And I still remember this. It was a long time ago. That, in school, they have like a Shabbos Abba, or they different awards. That he was, best student of the week, or scholar of Chumash, or Shabbos Abba, or whatever it is. So I remember one day he came home, Friday afternoon, and he was so excited. He was so happy. Why was he happy? Because Meir was his best friend. Meir was Shabbos Abba. So I'm thinking, what are you so happy about? You weren't, But I was very moved by the fact that he was as happy that his friend got something as if he would have gotten it himself. So I'm not sure if jealousy is necessarily so instinctive. He had a genuine pleasure in his friend getting this honor. I was a jaded adult already. What are you so happy about? And the like. But maybe that's unnatural. Same thing with happiness. Somebody asked the Brisker Rav, why are kids happy? I mean, the typical default setting of a kid is they're happy. I mean, even when they walk, they skip, right? Why are they happy? What's there to be so happy about? So to speak. And why is the typical adult, not happy in that same sense? It's an interesting question. So the Brisker Rav said, why are children happy? Because they don't yet have Averos. They don't have Averos, so there's nothing. Meaning, the natural quality of a neshama is to be happy. That's the natural way things are. But what happens is, Averos cloud us up. Averos block us in different ways. So that takes away the happiness that a child will have. A child who is not yet responsible for his Averos, there's nothing to block the happiness. An amazing thing. So I wonder if jealousy may fall along the same lines. Because when I think of my son, at least in that particular instance, I'm not going to say I saw this every single time, because I've seen other things too. But at least in that case, I saw really a test case of someone who genuinely was not jealous, who had genuinely had simcha in somebody else's accomplishment. That's a beautiful thing, because I think, all of us, unfortunately, I'll give you a lot of examples. Some of these might be painful examples. Your roommate you've been going out, and your roommate becomes a chassan. So of course you're happy, mazel tov, etc. But how many times is there still something, why him and not me? Right? That's kind of the jealousy that's very, very hard to get away from. or you're married and you don't have children, you and your wife don't have children, other people have children, and one of the uncomfortable things is, it's brought down in Sfarim, that to be a kvater at a bris. What's a kvater? Kvater is simply the one who brings the baby into the bris. That's a segula for a childless couple to have children. That we honor them with kvater, that the wife hands the baby to her husband, and the husband brings it to the moel. Right? It's called kvater. So the truth of the matter is, couples who are married for a while without children, they tend to be kvaters over and over again. And after a while, they really don't want it. They don't want it. They're embarrassed. They're embarrassed as always being pointed out as the couple that doesn't have kids. And I remember, there used to be a magazine, that was probably before your time. Some of you might know Rabbi Nissen Walpin, Zechron Livracha, who used to live in our neighborhood, and he was nifter a few years ago. His son is Rabbi Walpin, Rosh Shiva, Rosh Kola. So Rabbi Nissen Walpin was the editor for 30 years of a very good Jewish magazine called the Jewish Observer, which went out of business a few years ago. So I remember the Jewish Observer used to have a minhag of open letters, where people would write an anonymous open letter to somebody. So an open letter might say, an open letter to the man who davens next to me in my shul. Everything's anonymous. And it talked about, you're talking all the time, whatever. It was a way of giving musar. An open letter to my neighbor in shul. So I remember that one of the open letters, these are all anonymous, right? So you don't know who they're talking about, but it was like musar, is that a woman was complaining that when all of her friends get engaged, they're always talking about their chasans and their weddings. And don't they realize how much it hurts me, who's not yet engaged? Don't they realize? Why are they talking about it? Or there was another open letter about a woman without children who, how come whenever I meet my friends, they're talking about their kids all the time? Right? And now, there is a point to these letters. That's true. You don't try to create sorrow to somebody. But looking at it totally objectively, I think the writer of the letter has the wrong attitude, because the writer of the letter was allowing jealousy to cover up. When my friend gets married, I should be besimcha. Easier said than done. I'm not criticizing anybody. But I should be in seventh heaven. I should be as happy as if it was me. When another couple has a child, and Baruch Hashem, there's one more Jew in the world that can be raised to serve Hashem, I should feel happy. I should rejoice. I shouldn't want them to make believe their children don't exist when I come to the table, or make believe they're not engaged. So you reach a madrega, ideally, where the good things that happen to somebody else are as precious to you as what happens to you. And chas v'shalom, the pain that people suffer is as painful as what happens to you. But you're right, as long as there's jealousy, you're not going to have that. So that's a big issue.